weird. It's almost like it's not a book that you read once for one, but it's kind of like a guide. Like it's a tool to help you. Like because I a lot of these things I already felt and knew, but it kind of helps give you the equipment to be happy. You know what I mean?
And
And
it's
to
the confidence that other people actually think like this. Like I feel like I thought
right,
like that my whole life,
exactly.
but you don't want to ever feel alienated, you know? So you kind of bullshit along with everybody else you can
Yes.
fit in, you know? But then when you read something like that and it's like I feel like first of all, I
Yep.
feel like everybody's heart is telling them that. Some people are just willing to open their heart to that when they read it.
Yeah, it
Some people
is.
are like even more closed off, like, oh shit, that's this is gonna take me out of my comfort zone, you know?
Yeah, everybody resists so much, and it's like even I resist. You know what I mean? It's like I catch myself doing it, but yeah, like you said, I feel like everyone's heart feels this way. Everybody's just trapped behind this wall of themselves. You know, and it's like
And
it's this
that's
great
I'm
big scary wall that they've got to climb.
and that's exactly what you just said though. Like it's kind of a cycle too, because once, you know, I brought the don't take anything personally up earlier. It's like I do feel like I've gotten really good at not taking other people personally. So the crabs in a bucket analogy works well for that. But the next level is like taking yourself personally. And that's hard not to do, man. It's hard not to
Yes,
take your own judgments and your own shortcomings and misgivings and all the things that you beat yourself up for. Like that, not taking all of that shit personally, that's the
oh,
reason you take
dude,
other people personally is because all that shit is really bothering you, you know? So like once you stop taking other people personally, you think that you've accomplished
definitely.
something, but all you've done is like cleared off the fog to see that you've been taking yourself personally the whole time. None of that shit would have even you would not have cared about any of that if you hadn't have been judging yourself that same way. You know, they said something that reminded you of a way that you're judging yourself, and that's why it hurt. It didn't hurt because they said it. You don't give a fuck. Nobody cares about
Absolutely.
them really, but that when they say something that reminds you of the way you judge yourself, then that's when you're like, oh, that they hurt me. But it's
Yep.
not really them, you know? It's just they reminded you of the way you hurt yourself.
No, and yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's even, it's even those things of like like you said, somebody says something, it's like, but it's something you're falling short on, or something that you're not, giving your best, or being your best at. It's like, so it eats at you. Like it's that you don't even realize you do it sometimes. You know what I mean? Or me myself, it's like I'll take it personally because I'm not putting all my effort, or the effort that I should, into something, and it hurts. It's like you get angry about it. And then it takes a while to really set in and break it down and analyze it. Like, hey, I'm upset because I'm not putting forth my best effort in whatever they're attacking me about. So it definitely it kind of definitely all falls under that umbrella of the four agreements. They all play on to each other.
Exactly, 100%. Even he says they're all just support for the first agreement because, and then when you break that one down, be impeccable with your word. Like impeccable, what that means is without sin. But then a lot of people, when they hear the word sin, they automatically think like religious terms. But sin, the root Latin or Greek root of the word sin means to go against yourself. So to be impeccable with your word is to not use the word against yourself.
Yeah,
And so not taking anything personally, not making any assumptions, and doing your best. Those are agreements that help support you being impeccable with your word. Like you said, they all work together, but I think the word, you know, I'm not a super Christian, but I think all religions have some. I mean, you know, Brahman is like breath in Buddhism or Hinduism. All of them talk about the word or some the word of God or the voice of God. And I think that it is our power of creation to be able to, and that's why first of all, that's why stories I think are important, and why I like to hear other people's stories, and why I like to make stories part of this podcast, because I think the word is like, it's first of all, it's the way we bond with each other as far as like creating relationships and maintaining relationships, but it's also the way that we literally create our world, like we make plans and then we execute those plans all based on words. We set goals based on words.
Yeah.
All of that is based on words, and if those words aren't reflecting reality, then I feel like that can lead to problems. But when those words clearly reflect the love and the truth that the world is, then that's like a really meaningful experience. It brings meaning and purpose to like
Yeah.
our experience of life itself.
Yeah. No, I'm no, very well said.
Yeah, the metote, it's the Toltecs compare it to the marketplace, because if you go to a marketplace, you hear a bunch of voices talking, but like there's no organization, there's no harmony, it's just chaos of voices. And that's kind of
Yeah.
how our mind is if we're not focused. And so yeah, no, I'm glad that you thought about that, man, because I feel like when I was talking about not taking yourself personally, that's the metote right there. Like that's taking
Yeah.
it, taking any of those voices personally is like agreeing to a thought that isn't necessarily yours. One of the things that he doesn't say it in the Four Agreements, but it's in a few of his other books. But I think the first time I read it was in the Voice of Knowledge. He's like, you know, people think that they are the voice that's talking to them. But that's not really true, because if you're the voice, then who's listening? We're the ones that are either
Right.
agreeing or disagreeing with any of those voices. So you can like choose to not even take that voice that is personally, because that could come from somebody else's belief system that you're just like having a memory of, or like anything. It's something that you saw on TV decades ago that's like in your subconscious, and it just the bell got rung by something that just happened right now. Like you were talking about with the Nigel
Yeah.
shit with
Yeah.
Sin, like that phenomena of something
Yeah. Yeah. It
triggering
just
your
yeah,
memory
exactly.
happens to people all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that's something too, I guess, about, that I liked about, as called sacred fruits, or which there's several, you know what I mean? But psilocybin is what I liked. It was like it kind of allowed me to, I don't know if this is I think I'm using the wrong word, but it almost allowed me to place my thoughts in like a linear space, like where I was able to look at them without necessarily feeling or judgment towards myself. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I was able to look at even decisions. You know what I mean? It was like I was able to just look at them clearly the way that they are. And a lot of people get that mixed up. That it's like when you get surgery, it's not just you get the surgery and you're done. You need therapy. You need work to go along with it. And so many people are oh psychedelics saved my life, and it's like I'm sure that it did, but it's like it comes along, it's not just that, it's not just
How are you
getting
integrating
fucked
that
up or
experience into this moment right now? Like that's the integration is the word
right,
I like to
exactly,
use.
because it's like
Yeah.
yeah, no, and that's perfectly said. And so many people get it mixed up, I guess. It's like it doesn't just come with this singular experience. It's like there's a whole lot of things, like you said, that need to be integrated in along with it. That just kind of gives you that little people, little window into what's capable, for some people, and some people it doesn't. Some people oh, like to have a good time, but it's I don't know, it's always been more than that for me, I guess.
100%. 100%. Like, yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. I don't like it when I feel like somebody's just doing it because it's another way to get fucked up.
Right, exactly, and I've got, a friend that it kinda goes back and forth. It's like, is it that, or, it's hard to tell, but, it's like, man, this is supposed to be here for healing. Like, this is medicine. It's just like, just like weed, you know what I mean? It's meant to be enjoyed, you know what I mean? It's like, but it's meant to give you a connection as well. It's meant to ease your mind. It's not meant to, I mean, you can have fun with anything, and it's meant to enjoy, but it's not meant to be abused.
100%. And I like how you said enjoy and fun, because exact what I was about to say is like, yeah, it's super fun, but it doesn't mean that you have to come down even. You can take those things that you learn while you're tripping. I don't even like the word tripping because like
I don't either. I really
yeah,
don't
some it's
either.
not, especially if you're having a good trip, it's like the opposite of tripping. You know what I mean? It's like you're in the
Yeah.
zone more than
Oh
tripping.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so the
Yeah.
thing,
It's
yeah, it's
yeah.
not like you're just tripping
Yeah.
and then
Exactly.
you go back to real life. It's like, no, you can take the things that you learned in that experience, apply it to when you're not under the influence of the substance itself, and actually apply those lessons to your life. And
Right.
then, after you've applied and maybe like conquered some of those demons, metaphorically to speak, or whatever, then the next time that you take that substance, then it's going to be that much better because you've integrated the lessons from before. Now
Right.
you got new lessons to learn. You're not having the same trip every time. You know what I mean? It's like you can take the fun and the
Right.
enjoyment
Exactly.
that you have during the experience, under the influence experience, and you can apply that fun and enjoyment to your actual life. Like you don't ever have to quote unquote stop tripping if you just want to. Obviously the
Right.
influence of the
Yeah.
drug itself
Exactly.
is going to wear off, but the things that you learned, for lack of a better term, during that experience can be applied to when you're not no longer under the actual influence of the drug itself anymore. You know what I mean? And I call that integration. But
Yes. And if you keep reaching, and if you keep, reaching that same impasse, or, you keep hitting your head against that same wall every time you do, there's something you're missing. You need to reevaluate it, I guess, so to speak. You need to take a deeper look. And most of the time, you know what it is. You know what I mean? Everybody does. It's like you just don't want to admit it to yourself. And it's hard. It's hard being wrong, or, admitting that you're, even, you know, hurting the ones you love or whatever. It's like it's a hard thing, but again, and go back to, like I was saying, there's old sayings, there's, meaning in all of them, but it's like the truth will set you free. Like, it might be hard, it's not easy, but it's like it'll set you free, piece by piece.